Discover the incredible journey of a new maid who changed a millionaire's little girl forever. Maria stepped into the lavish home of the Thompsons, a mix of nervousness and determination swirling in her stomach. Her maid uniform, crisp and clean, felt like a suit of armor. Every shiny marble floor she swept reminded her of the tiny, humble house back in Guatemala where her 3 younger siblings waited for the brighter future she promised them. She imagined their hopeful smiles as she worked tirelessly, pushing the memories away, focusing on the job at hand. In the same mansion lived Emily, a 10-year-old with big brown eyes and a heart that yearned for connection. Despite the wealth that surrounded her, stark loneliness shadowed her every move. She was an island in a sea of luxury, held back by overprotective parents who shielded her from the world outside. The echoes of muted laughter from expensive parties only reminded her of how isolated she felt. Every soft sigh filled the grand halls, searching for a friend. Their worlds collided one sunny afternoon when Maria noticed Emily watching her from the grand staircase. Despite being anxious about her presence, Maria smiled, drawing Emily out of her shell. With every passing day, the two of them fell into an easy routine, enjoying the small moments. Under Maria's warm guidance, Emily discovered joy in simple acts like planting flowers in the community garden and picking up toys at the local veteran center. Together, they laughed, played, and learned the true meaning of friendship. It wasn't long until their laughter rang through the high ceilings of the mansion, filling the empty spaces with warmth. As their bond blossomed, shadows lurked around the corners. Mrs. Thompson, sensing her daughter's happiness unspooling like ribbons in a breeze, grew jealous of Maria's influence. The thought of her daughter befriending the maid ignited a fiery confusion in her heart. She started plotting, her unease simmering. Then, the skies darkened. During an annual school event, Emily tripped, falling hard. A piercing scream shattered the air, leaving Maria breathless with panic. The shimmer of hospital lights painted stark shadows on her face as she rushed to Emily's side. Fear clenched every heart in the Thompson household. But amidst the fear, Maria stood as a rock. Her steady presence radiated hope. A bond formed in those chilling moments, her empathy became a balm for the family's grief. As they waited for news, something shifted. Secrets surfaced, harsh truths lay bare. Maria's past was filled with struggles, yet it blossomed with the strength of sacrifice. Mrs. Thompson faced the reality that her daughter's worth wasn't defined by status. Emotion surged through the air, swirling heavier around their uncertain futures. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Just when they began to mend their fractured trust, Mrs. Thompson stumbled upon a revelation that could unravel their delicate connections. The air turned electric. Would Maria's selflessness stand tall against the looming shadow of her identity? As all their fates hang in the balance, questions loomed, leaving them at a crossroads. Would forgiveness bridge the chasm of their contrasting lives? The clock ticked on, and the aching suspense hung thick in the air, driving them toward the next chapter of their intertwined stories. As the sun dipped below the horizon, bathing the mansion in a warm golden hue, Maria felt an undeniable tension in the air. The revelation Mrs. Thompson had uncovered loomed heavily, like dark clouds threatening a storm. Emily, still reeling from her fall and the swelling fear of uncertainty, clung tightly to Maria's hand. Together, they made their way back home from the hospital, the car ride silent yet charged with emotions. Mrs. Thompson stood in the grand foyer, arms crossed, her expression a mix of anguish and determination. The silence crackled as she turned to face Maria, who felt her pulse quicken. Words hung in the air, waiting to be unleashed, but Mrs. Thompson's gaze softened when it met Emily's cherubic face. "I didn't mean for you to get hurt, Emily," she whispered, the sharpness of her earlier tension dissipating slightly. Maria watched, her heart racing, as Emily stepped between them. "Mom, Maria helped me more than anyone else when I was scared. She is my friend, and I need her right now." The sincerity in Emily's plea shattered the tension, tugging at Mrs. Thompson's heart. Yet, in that moment of vulnerability, Mrs. Thompson's conflict returned. The thought of her daughter being close to someone of Maria's socioeconomic status was hard to reconcile. "Emily, it's not just about you. There are standards people will talk," she muttered, stubborn but beginning to falter under Emily's unwavering gaze. Maria felt the weight of the unspoken words pressing down on her. Every doubt clouded her mind. Was she just the hired help, or was she more? She remembered her family back home and how hard they had worked to provide for her. The fear of loss trembled through her. Would she be cast aside like a mere reflection of her status? Emily's eyes sparkled with determination. "Mom, I want to learn from Maria. She understands me." Turning to Maria, Emily added, "Please don't let my mom's opinion change things between us." Maria felt a lump form in her throat as she nodded, holding back tears. She knew Emily needed her now more than ever. It was a powerful moment for both girls, solidifying their bond in the face of a growing storm. Determined to prove her worth, Maria decided she would take a step forward. "Mrs. Thompson, I want to show you that I'm not just here to clean. I can help Emily with her schoolwork, and teach her about culture and community," she offered, her voice steady despite the intensity of the situation. "I can help her become the person you want her to be." Mrs. Thompson's eyes narrowed slightly, measuring Maria's words. A part of her struggled against the idea of trusting someone so different, while another part felt the desperate ache of wanting Emily's happiness above all else. Was she willing to risk that for the sake of tradition? The two women stood at opposing ends of the vast hallway, and the tension was palpable. What would Mrs. Thompson decide? Would she allow her fear and societal expectations to overshadow the bond forming beautifully between Maria and Emily? Just then, the doorbell chimed. All three turned, a collective breath caught in their throats. Who could it be, and what unforeseen changes would their arrival bring? Maria's heart raced as questions filled her mind. Were they about to face an unexpected challenge that would test their newfound closeness, or perhaps an ally that might help bridge the chasm between them? The answer awaited just beyond the door. The bell rang again, more insistent this time. Maria felt a jolt of adrenaline surge through her as she exchanged quick glances with Emily and Mrs. Thompson. It was a moment of shared curiosity, yet the air remained thick with unspent tension. Mrs. Thompson made her way to the door, her footsteps echoing ominously through the corridor. The girls stood silently, their breaths held, equally anxious about who was on the other side. As Mrs. Thompson pulled open the large oak door, a gust of wind swirled in, carrying with it the sweet scent of blooming jasmine and the distant sound of crickets. There stood a tall figure, silhouetted by the fading light. It was Mr. Thompson, Emily's father, back from an extended business trip. His face was tired, lines etched deep with worry, but there was a warmth there too. "Hey, sweetheart," he greeted, wrapping his arms around Emily first, lifting her slightly off the ground in a swirl of affection. "Are you okay? I heard about your fall." Emily nodded, her earlier fears dissolving in her father's embrace, a security blanket forged of love and concern. Maria took a step back, feeling like an interloper in the sacred moment. She struggled to maintain her composure while fighting the urge to retreat into the shadows. "Hello, dear," Mrs. Thompson said with a practiced smile, but her voice cracked ever so slightly. "Emily is healing, thank you." Mr. Thompson, his gaze shifting from his wife to Maria, offered a polite nod. "And you must be the new help?" he asked, his expression giving away nothing. Maria felt her heart race, a mix of embarrassment and indignation rising within her. The words felt like a punch. The new help. It stung. She held her ground for a brief moment before responding, her voice steady. "Yes, sir. I'm Maria. I help Emily with her schoolwork and other things. Is that right? He raised a brow, an inquisitive look on his face. Well, Emily seems to think very highly of you. The compliment felt akin to being brushed with warmth from the winter sun, but Maria could sense Mrs. Thompson's watchful eyes hardening. Emily, sensing the delicate balance of their situation, chimed in. Dad, Maria has been amazing. She helps with everything, and we're learning a lot together. There was hope in her voice, a plea for understanding that hung in the air like unresolved chords of a song. Mr. Thompson nodded slowly, his gaze darting between Maria and his wife. Well, that's important. Education matters. Mrs. Thompson's expression shifted, a flicker of uncertainty flashing across her face. Maybe we can discuss this later, she suggested, a hint of desperation creeping into her voice. As the family filed into the foyer, the warmth of Mr. Thompson's presence seemed to push back against the cold tension thickening in the air. Every word exchanged felt critical now, like pieces of a puzzle falling into place, yet with unmistakable gaps. Suddenly, from the chaos of their feelings and expectations, Emily spoke up once more. Dad, can you stay home for dinner? Maria can help us. We can all learn together. The way she pleaded with her father, her eyes wide and pleading, could melt the frostiest of hearts. Maria's breath caught in her throat. Was this the moment that could shift everything? Would Mr. Thompson help bridge the gap that felt so insurmountable? As Maria watched, the battle for acceptance played out before her, she felt a flicker of hope. Perhaps this encounter could start a journey leading to something more significant than she ever imagined. But as Emily's parents exchanged unsure glances, Maria couldn't shake the feeling that another storm was brewing. What would it take for the walls to come down? Could a simple dinner change the course of their lives? The night felt pregnant with possibilities, and Maria clung to the fragile hope that everything could change. Mr. Thompson hesitated, a flicker of surprise in his eyes. As he considered Emily's request, the air grew heavy with anticipation. Maria held her breath, a tight knot forming in her stomach. Would he agree? Would this dinner be the bridge they all needed? All right, Mr. Thompson finally said, his voice steady, yet laced with uncertainty. I think I can spare a couple of hours. Relief washed over Emily's face as she beamed brightly. Great. I'll set the table, Emily squealed, dashing into the dining room before anyone could say another word. The joy was contagious, but Maria could still feel the sting of judgment in Mrs. Thompson's eyes. Let us talk in the kitchen, dear, she said softly to her husband. With that, Mrs. Thompson turned, leading him away while sending a pointed glance back at Maria that felt like a warning. Maria fidgeted in the foyer, the echo of their conversation still hanging in the air. She felt like a ghost on the outskirts of their world. Feeling out of place, she swallowed her emotions, reminding herself why she was there. Emily needed her. As she joined the girls in the kitchen, she could hear the muffled voices of Mr. and Mrs. Thompson discussing something serious. It made the warmth of the kitchen seem cozier, coiling itself around her like a comforting shawl. Can you grab the plates from the cupboard? Emily asked excitedly, eyes twinkling. Maria nodded, the smallest smile creeping onto her face as she reached for the dishes. Each clink against the counter filled her with a strange sense of belonging, a feeling she hadn't experienced in a long time. Dinner preparations were a blend of chaos and laughter. Emily was eager to help, her hands flourished with anticipation as she whisked together a simple salad and engaged in animated chatter. Maria couldn't help but join in, their giggles creating a light-hearted atmosphere that momentarily lifted the weight on her shoulders. Minutes later, the dining room was set, and the aroma of dinner began to fill the home. Maria adjusted the chair at the table, trying to shake off the shadow of apprehension that clung to her. As the clock ticked on, the tension seemed to grow. Maria caught sight of the kitchen door swinging open, revealing Mr. and Mrs. Thompson, their expressions unreadable. Inviting smiles didn't reach their eyes, and a thick silence followed them to the table. Emily reacted, breaking the stillness. Dinner's ready. Let us eat. Her enthusiasm rang out hopeful yet precarious, as if it was a dare directed at her parents. The three of them, Maria, Emily, and Mr. Thompson, settled in, while Mrs. Thompson remained rigid, her eyes darting between everyone, measuring the shifting dynamics of the dinner. Maria's heart raced, she felt a wave of vulnerability wash over her. Would she ever truly belong here? Conversation began with Mr. Thompson asking Emily about her schoolwork, and Maria chimed in when she felt the warmth of the discussion. They spoke of history and science, and a few times Maria caught Mr. Thompson smiling at the pair of them. But Mrs. Thompson didn't engage. She sat back, arms crossed, her frown heavy like a dark cloud overshadowing the room. Maria has been a big help with my English, Emily said, her voice bright, but Maria sensed the worry in Mrs. Thompson's gaze sharpening. It felt like a tether pulling tighter, leaving little room for Maria's hope. What do you think, Mrs. Thompson? Maria asked, bravely looking her way. Would she find kindness there, or a razor-edged caution? For a moment, the table went silent. All eyes turned to Mrs. Thompson, her expression a storm contained in a fragile container. This is a lot to handle, she began, her voice strained, but before she could finish, the doorbell rang again, slicing through the heavy air. Maria's heart sank. Who could it be now? Emily jumped up. I'll get it, she exclaimed, and as she darted to the door, Maria held her breath. Would this interruption challenge their budding connection? Or would it unveil secrets that would change everything? Emily opened the door with a flourish, revealing a tall figure draped in a dark coat. The evening chill clung to the newcomer, but he stepped inside with an air of confidence that instantly warmed the space. Maria squinted, trying to catch a glimpse of the visitor's face, yet her heartbeat quickened at the sight of him. It was Nathan, a boy from her past, a flickering memory that felt far too big for this moment. Is Emily here? He asked, casually tossing his damp jacket onto a nearby chair. The question hung in the air like an unexpected storm, catching everyone off guard. Emily's face lit up. Nathan! You made it! She raced toward him, pulling him into a hug that made Maria feel like an intruder in her own thoughts. She watched them, momentarily entranced by the ease of their connection, and a sudden wave of discomfort washed over her. Mr. Thompson's brow furrowed as he exchanged a glance with Mrs. Thompson. Maria could sense the shift in the atmosphere, the ripple of tension that bubbled just beneath the surface. She glanced at Mrs. Thompson, whose lips had thinned into an unimpressed line, rigid with a mixture of skepticism and surprise. Do you know him? Mr. Thompson asked Emily, suppressing a frown. His tone was cautious, protective, which felt suffocating. Yeah. Nathan's my friend from school. He helped me with my science project last year. Emily said, her excitement bubbling over like a pot left to boil. There was a spark in her eyes that Maria recognized, the thrill of companionship that could overshadow doubts and fears. How sweet it was and how fragile. Maria felt the distance expand between her and the laugh-filled front door. Nathan's easygoing nature drew hesitant attention. People who hadn't noticed her before now shifted their focus, as if she were fading into the wallpaper. That's great, Emily. Nathan replied warmly, setting his gaze on her for a brief moment before turning back to the Thompsons. Sorry to drop by unannounced, but I thought I'd see if Emily wanted to hang out for a bit. Mrs. Thompson interjected, her voice cold as an ice wind. This isn't a good time, Nathan. We're having dinner. The words were clipped, and Maria felt herself cringe. Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt, he stumbled, glancing back at Emily, who seemed trapped between two worlds, her old friend and her current situation. Mom, please, it's just for a little while. You said I could have friends over, Emily pleaded, her voice shaky. Maria could see her little sister's resolve beginning to crack, the happiness draining as she glanced at their mother. Yes, but that was before Mrs. Thompson's voice trailed off, a hint of desperation lurking in her tone as though she felt cornered. Maria's own heart raced, a cocktail of sympathy for Emily and impatience toward the Thompsons, a family that seemed to thrive on control and appearances. "Don't you want her to be happy?" Maria spoke up, surprising herself with her boldness. The room fell silent, and all eyes turned to her. Mr. Thompson blinked, almost disarmed, while Mrs. Thompson's expression shifted sharply, scanning Maria for some hint of defiance or mischief. "Emily has been working hard. A little friendship now could mean a lot," Maria continued. The words poured out even as she felt the heat rise to her cheeks. A moment hung between them like a fragile thread. And for the first time, Mrs. Thompson hesitated, her steely demeanor wavering as she sensed the fervor in Maria's voice. Well, she hesitated, testing the waters. "All right, just for a little while, but I want you back by 8. Emily's eyes sparkled with a mix of relief and joy, as if the clouds of uncertainty had opened up, allowing a stream of light to break through the gray sky above her. "Thanks, Mom!" Emily exclaimed, practically bouncing as she turned back to Nathan, and just like that, the tension shifted toward laughter once again. Maria sank back into her chair, her heart racing with the unpredictability of the evening. What had started as a simple dinner had morphed into something bigger, an intersection of past memories, new connections, and a delicate dance of family dynamics. But as the laughter erupted around the table, a nagging feeling lingered in the corner of Maria's mind. What happened next could change everything, both for Emily and for her own place in this family. With the door now wide open to old friendships and new possibilities, Maria couldn't shake off the thought, were they ready for what was about to unfold? And more importantly, were they prepared for the truth lurking just beneath the surface? As the evening unfolded, Nathan settled into the living room with effortless charm, and the air buzzed with the familiar sound of merriment. Laughter spilled out like confetti, and Emily's spirit glimmered brighter with each passing moment. Maria observed them from a distance, her heart a mix of warmth and worry. She was grateful that Emily could enjoy this slice of life, but an unsettling feeling niggled at her thoughts. This moment felt precarious, teetering on the edge of change. Nathan stretched out on the couch, sharing stories from school. The way he spoke, animated and genuine, pulled Emily into his tale like a magnet. Maria's heartstrings ached as she admired the bond they shared, a connection she couldn't help but envy. She wanted to protect Emily from heartbreak, but she also recognized the need for her sister to build friendships and emerge from the shadows of their controlled home. "Remember that time in science class when we accidentally blew up the volcano?" Nathan laughed, eyes sparkling with mischief. Emily erupted in giggles, her laughter blending with the echoes of their past, weaving a tapestry of camaraderie that even Maria could feel. But then, a silence washed over them. It was fleeting but heavy, punctuated by the sound of Mrs. Thompson's clanking dishes from the kitchen. Maria noticed Emily stiffen for just a second, her smile fading. The sweet moment of connection felt fragile, and Maria's heartbeat quickened as the unspoken tension resurfaced. "Your parents okay with you being here?" Nathan asked, his voice softer now, a hint of concern creeping in. It was a question that cut through the laughter like a knife. Emily glanced momentarily toward the kitchen, then back at Nathan. "They're getting used to it." Their exchange lingered like a charged current in the air. Maria could almost hear the unasked questions swirling around them. Was it truly okay? Did Nathan sense the weight of Emily's constricted world? The crack in Emily's joyful facade tugged at Maria's chest, a painful reminder of their realities. Feeling compelled to step in, Maria took a deep breath and decided to join the conversation, hoping to lift the moment back to playfulness. "You know, Nathan helped Emily build that volcano." She grinned, allowing herself to lighten the mood. "And I still think we owe it to science to give it another go." Emily perked up, a realistic warmth that spread across her face. "We should," she exclaimed, excitement bubbling in her voice again. For a brief moment, the room filled with an easy camaraderie, and Nathan's smile returned. "I'd love to help. We can get the supplies tomorrow." But as the laughter resumed, Maria couldn't shake the feeling that something was coming. Just then, she caught Mrs. Thompson's sharp gaze from the kitchen, a silent warning flickering in her eyes. A reminder of the boundaries, the expectations that loomed large over the evenings in this house. As the clock ticked toward 8, Maria felt the relentless weight of time creeping in. Emily's laughter filled the room, but it was accompanied by shadows that stretched into the corners of their lives. Just a few more minutes. Emily pleaded with a sparkle in her eye, a glimmer of hope that hung in the air. She turned to Nathan, compassion radiating from her. "You don't have to go yet, do you?" Maria's heart sank as she realized the possibility of that request being denied. Would Mrs. Thompson relent, or would she uphold the strict rules that sometimes felt like prison walls? The laughter grew louder, but Maria could feel the edges of her optimism fraying. She looked at Nathan, who seemed so effortlessly comfortable, and wished he could understand the complexity surrounding them. What if, she thought, this was more than just a friendship for Emily, but a chance for all of them to redefine their truth and connections? The doorbell rang with an unexpected sharpness, shaking the fragile moment. All eyes turned toward the door, and Maria's stomach plummeted. Who could that be? With a rush of anxiety, she realized that whatever lay behind that door might change everything for Emily and, perhaps, for her own chance at belonging in this family as well. What now? Maria wondered, heart racing. What revelation awaited them just on the other side? The doorbell echoed through the living room, a sound that felt almost menacing in its timing. Nathan's laughter faltered, replaced by a look of curiosity mingled with concern. Emily, however, remained transfixed, eyes bright and unyielding, as if she willed reality to bend to her wishes. "Should I get it?" Maria asked, reluctant to take the next step. The air thickened with anticipation. She held her breath, waiting for some sign, some inclination of who might be on the other side. "Maybe it's just a neighbor," Nathan suggested, brushing aside the tension with his boyish optimism. Or something more, Maria thought, already suspecting the possibilities that loomed large and unwelcome. Their world had its rules, and the interloper at the door might just bring a whirlwind of change. Emily shot a glance back at the kitchen, where Mrs. Thompson was still bustling about, likely unaware of the upcoming disruption. "I can't just ignore it," she said softly, as if convincing herself more than anyone else. With a nod from Nathan, Maria ventured to the door, her heart thumping loudly in her ears. Every step felt loaded, the moment stretching like taffy. She paused for a fleeting second, recalling the last interruption at their door, the night they had the argument, her parents reeling from the shame of a response they couldn't take back. As Maria gripped the handle and opened the door, the cool evening air rushed in, mixed with the scent of rain that lingered from earlier. Standing there was a young woman lost in translation, balancing both confidence and apprehension. She wore a faded denim jacket, and her dark hair was pulled into a messy bun. A nervous smile broke free as she caught sight of the trio inside. "Hi. I'm Mia," she introduced, her voice bright yet with an undercurrent of tension. "I, just moved in next door. I thought I'd come over and say hello." Maria blinked as she processed the unexpected greeting. "Oh hi," she replied cautiously, wondering if this newcomer understood the weight of this moment or the labyrinth of emotions within their walls. Emily's face lit up, breaking the ice Maria hadn't realized was frozen solid. "Hi, I'm Emily. It's so nice to meet you." Nathan observed the exchange, his surprise shifting gradually into intrigue. "What brings you here?" he asked, genuinely curious. "I just wanted to get to know the neighborhood," Mia answered. "And I heard you guys were pretty cool." She gave a sheepish shrug, her eyes twinkling like she knew more than she let on. Maria exchanged glances with Emily, who was now beaming with delight. Part of her wanted to pull her sister back and shield her from this potential upheaval, the unknown lurking behind this cheerful first impression. For every promise of friendship, a threat lingered, the prospect of getting hurt or losing connection. In that moment, Mrs. Thompson appeared at the kitchen entrance, her disapproval palpable, casting shadows over the warmth of their conversation. "Emily, is everything all right?" she asked, her tone tightly laced with authority. The atmosphere shifted, tension sowing through the room. Maria recognized the brewing storm as Mrs. Thompson's gaze darted between her daughter and the adventurous newcomer, weighing the potential chaos Mia could unleash. "Can I come in?" Mia asked, her voice barely rising above the tension, a hopeful eagerness etched on her face. Maria felt the pull of her sister's desire to connect, clashing against the protective instinct surging within her. Would this new girl become a bridge to Emily's freedom or a rift that deepened the divisions in their lives? Maria took a deep breath, realizing the choice hung like a pendulum, balancing on the edge of the unknown. Would she welcome the new possibility for Emily, or would she uphold the status quo? "Maybe this is what we need," she thought, though uncertainty anchored her heart to the floor. Yeah, come on in," Maria finally said, fully aware that this small invitation might ripple outwards, altering their paths forever. As Mia stepped inside, Maria's pulse quickened. What impact would this girl have on their lives as they've known them? In that moment, the possibilities felt vast, both exciting and terrifying. Would today mark a turning point for Emily, or would it deepen the seams of tension? Mia's arrival might just open a door filled with unforeseen consequences. Now, what would those be? As Mia stepped over the threshold, a hesitant smile crept onto her lips, contrasting with the heavy atmosphere swirling around them. She glanced around the living room, taking in the cozy, familiar photos lining the walls. It felt like a sanctuary, warm, bustling, safe for now. Emily broke the silence first, her voice bubbling with excitement. "This place is amazing. You'll love it here." There was an undeniable spark in her eyes, one that pulled Mia in deeper. Maria watched the exchange, her heart fluttering with unspoken fears. Could this be a new friend for Emily? A chance for her sister to come out of her shell? Or was this just another level of complication they didn't need? "Thank you," Mia replied, her voice brightening. "I already like it. It feels like home." The sincerity in her tone hit Maria squarely in the chest. There was a sincerity about Mia that tugged at her instincts. Was this new girl truly innocent, or was she going to unravel their tightly woven world? Mrs. Thompson's disapproval lingered, casting a long shadow over the interaction. "Emily, maybe you should stay close to home until we've gotten to know her better." The protective tone in her mother's voice resonated with a sense of duty. But what if Emily needed to break free of those constraints? "Mom, it'll be fine," Emily protested, confidently standing her ground. "I can handle it." The defiance in Emily's voice surprised even Nathan, who looked impressed and a bit concerned as Mia's gaze shifted between the two siblings. Mia nodded, sensing the push and pull in the air. "I promise, I'm just here to meet some new people. Nothing too wild." "Right, wild," Maria muttered under her breath, eyeing Mia skeptically. An unexpected chuckle broke through the tension from Nathan, who was leaning against the wall, arms crossed. "I don't know, Mia. Emily can get pretty wild when she wants to remember the last birthday party." Emily threw a playful glare at her brother. "Stop. That went perfectly." But the laughter that followed wove a thread of connection, easing some anxiety between them. Gradually, their guardedness gave way, yet Maria still felt a weight on her shoulders. She sensed the beginnings of an alliance forming. Emily and Mia, each craving something the other could provide. "All right," Maria sighed, giving in a little. "What do you like to do? Are you into music? Sports? Anything fun?" "Actually, I love painting." Mia's face brightened, her energy infectious. "I like capturing moments and emotions. It's like freezing time on a canvas, you know." The way she spoke about art made Maria lean in, curiosity overshadowing suspicion. They had always admired creativity, letting it waft through their home like a comforting blanket. Maybe this girl who seemed so different could actually bring something special to their lives after all. "I love painting too," Emily chimed in, her enthusiasm bubbling up. "Maybe you can teach me some techniques." Mia smiled wide, the kind of smile that felt like dawn breaking through the night. As they exchanged ideas, Maria realized how quickly the dynamic was shifting. But an unease nestled deep in her heart. Could Mia be a true friend, or was this too good to be true? Lost in conversation, they had almost forgotten Mrs. Thompson standing watching them, her arms folded tightly. "Just remember to be careful," she interjected, her words wrapping around them like chains. Doubts clouded her eyes, and her protective nature threatened to cage Emily once more. Feeling the push from both sides, Maria could only hope that the collision of their worlds wouldn't end in chaos. "Can I go to the park tomorrow?" Emily's question sliced through the tension, a brave leap into what she wanted. The room went silent, and all eyes pivoted to Mrs. Thompson, whose lips pressed into a thin line. Would she allow this, or would she keep them in the shadows they were used to? Mia looked hopeful, her gaze shifted to Emily, mirroring the budding dream of freedom they both so clearly desired. "Mom," Emily prompted, taking a step closer to Mrs. Thompson. As a decision loomed, the silence draped heavily around them. Would this small moment of hope tear down the walls, or would it bind them tighter together in fear? What lay beyond Mrs. Thompson's verdict could change everything for better or for worse. Mrs. Thompson remained silent, her gaze locked on Emily. The air thickened with anticipation, and Mia felt her heart race. She could sense the tug-of-war between Emily's yearning for independence and their mother's instinctive need to protect. Finally, Mrs. Thompson sighed, breaking the tension like a fragile bubble. "I suppose if you're careful and stay within the park boundaries." Her voice was tight, but the slight concession felt monumental. Emily's face lit up, pure joy illuminating her features. "Thank you, Mom." She flung her arms around her mother, squeezing tightly. Mia grinned, matching Emily's excitement, but a hint of doubt flitted through her mind. Would this be the first step towards something amazing or the beginning of a mess? "Just keep your phone with you, okay? I'll want to check in." Mrs. Thompson turned serious once more, her lips pursed, but there was a glimmer of something softer too. "Promise." Emily shot back. As the girls bounced ideas back and forth about what they could do at the park, Maria couldn't shake her wariness. The laughter filled the room, but each chuckle came with an undertow of uncertainty. Mia had ignited something in Emily that Maria hadn't seen in a long time, and while she wanted to embrace this change, she couldn't ignore that nagging feeling in the pit of her stomach. That evening, after dinner, the air grew heavy with thoughts unspoken. Mia sat with Emily in the living room, sketching ideas for their day at the park. Maria busied herself in the kitchen, eavesdropping with half an ear while trying to wash dishes. Emily's giggles floated back like ripples in water, and it made her heart swell but also ache with worry. It would be so easy for them to hurt each other or for Mia to take advantage of Emily's trust. "Hey, Maria. Come look at this." Emily's voice pierced through her thoughts. With a resigned sigh, Maria stepped into the living room. Mia had done a quick sketch, most of it was unfinished, but there was an undeniable quality to it that captivated Maria. "You've got talent." "Thanks. I'm trying to make a piece that represents freedom and friendship, a little homage to our park adventure tomorrow," Mia replied, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "How about this? You could add some butterflies," Emily suggested, jumping up and down as if she could barely contain her excitement. "Good idea," Mia replied, smiling. "They can symbolize your journey, exploring new things, and leaving your comfort zone." Maria felt a twinge in her heart. Was that what Emily was doing? Would she truly be ready to explore? They went back to their chatter, and slowly but surely, Maria began to relax. The more she watched them interact, the more she wanted to believe in the good that could blossom from this new friendship. But the closer they got, the more she wrestled with her feelings, trying to balance protectiveness with the hope that Emily needed more than their small, safe world. As they finally settled in for the night, there was a sense of anticipation hanging over them for the day to come. Mia was a puzzle, and Maria wanted so desperately to piece together what made her tick, but the more she unraveled, the more she found herself caught in a whirlwind of uncertainty. "Good night, you two. Sleep well for tomorrow," Maria called softly, her heart both heavy and light. Just before she closed the door to her room, a small insistent voice broke through the quiet. "Maria," Mia's tone was serious, an unfamiliar edge to it. "Can I ask you something?" A cold knot of dread tightened in Maria's chest. She felt exposed, as if Mia had just peeled away a layer of composure. "Of course," she answered, turning back to face her. But Mia didn't respond immediately. Instead, she stared intently, a complex mix of emotions swirling in her gaze. "What do you really think of me?" That simple question sent a ripple of anxiety through Maria. What did she think? The answer felt tangled, layered in fear and hope. She hesitated, unsure how to respond. But before she could form an answer, Mia broke their eye contact and looked down, a flicker of vulnerability passing between them. What did she really want to know? The door of trust was ajar but teetering on the edge. And as Maria stood there, contemplating how to navigate this moment, she felt a shift in the air. The question they both had wasn't just about Mia. They were both trying to figure out where they fit in each other's lives and what that meant moving forward. Tomorrow would be a test, a chance to uncover deeper truths, but would the answers bring them closer or push them apart? The morning sun poured through the windows, banishing shadows and filling the Thompson home with light. Maria felt the familiar thrill of a new day, yet an undercurrent of anxiety twisted in her stomach. Today was the day everything could change. She hoped to witness the blossoming friendship between Emily and Mia. But fear tugged at her heart. Would this new bond bring joy or more complications? In the kitchen, the scent of pancakes wafted through the air. Maria flipped a stack onto a plate while Emily charged in, radiating a buoyant energy. "Maria. Are you ready? I can't wait to show Mia the park." Emily's eyes shimmered with excitement. Maria smiled, though the worry never fully faded. "Just, be careful, okay? And remember, you have to stick together." "Of course." Emily replied, a determined nod emphasizing her point. "This is our day." After breakfast, they made their way to the living room, where Mia was already waiting, sketchbook in hand. The sight of her beaming face sparked warmth in Maria's chest. Perhaps this was the day she had been waiting for, the day that could redefine everything. "Let us go," Mia chirped, her joy infectious. Emily bounded toward the door with a brightness in her step, and Maria followed suit, swallowing her trepidation. As they stepped outside into the vibrant sunlight, a world of possibility lay before them. Once at the park, the laughter of children filled the air, punctuating their senses. The colors of blooming flowers brightened their surroundings, and the crisp wind whispered excitement. Maria watched as Emily and Mia ran ahead, their youthful energy infectious. They played, splashing through puddles and weaving through trails, painting a picture of friendship that Maria had longed for Emily to experience. While the girls played, Maria took a moment to reflect. This moment stood out, a reminder of the innocence and beauty of childhood. However, it was bittersweet. Her heart ached for her own siblings back home. She hoped they too would taste the sweetness of life, would flourish someday just as Emily was doing now. "Hey, catch!" Emily's shout jolted Maria back to reality. A frisbee glittered in the air, spinning towards them. With instinctual agility, Maria snagged it mid-flight, her laughter ringing clear. The excitement flooded over her as the girls cheered, reveling in their shared thrill. The constant delight nudged at Maria's worries. They could bond, share dreams, and learn from one another. The moment felt limitless until Emily called out, "Let us go to the swings." They raced back toward the swings, and Maria settled onto a nearby bench, enjoying the sight of Emily and Mia laughing, faces filled with easy camaraderie. But then, just as quickly, Maria noticed Mrs. Thompson's arrival at the park, her presence an undeniable storm cloud looming in the distance. With an air of authority, Mrs. Thompson approached, arms crossed, an inflexible expression clouding her features. "Emily," she called out, and the joy that had lit up Emily's face flickered wanly. Maria's heart raced with apprehension. This was at the moment of reckoning. Would Mrs. Thompson harshly cut through their happiness? "Mom! Look! I'm having so much fun with Mia." Emily's voice rang out, youthful enthusiasm seeping through her tone. But Mrs. Thompson remained stoic. "We need to talk. Now." The moment felt electric, charged with emotions, full of the weight of expectations. Maria stood, preparing herself for the fallout. Would Mrs. Thompson shatter this budding connection? Would she push Emily back into her gilded cage? "Can't it wait, Mom?" Emily replied, her voice shaking slightly but defiant. "No, it cannot. I need to know what this new friendship means for you." Mrs. Thompson's voice was firm, yet the vulnerability behind her eyes betrayed her worry. Mia looked between them, wide-eyed, sensing the shift in momentum. Emboldened by the situation, Maria took a step forward. "Mrs. Thompson, Emily deserves a chance to explore friendships. Mia is kind, and it's important she gets to know what's out there." The silence that followed was heavy, filled with tension as everything hung in the balance. Mrs. Thompson weighed her options, her gaze flickering between Maria and her daughter. Finally, she sighed, arms dropping somewhat in defeat. "Fine. But only as long as you're both cautious and keep me in the loop." There was a hint of softness creeping into her tone, and Maria felt a glimmer of hope igniting in her chest. Emily's face lit up, a brilliant smile breaking free, her eyes sparkling with gratitude. "Thank you, Mom. Let us go back to having fun, shall we?" Mia suggested, her voice brightening the atmosphere. As they resumed playing, Maria felt the bonds of connection forming anew, not just between Emily and Mia, but between herself and Mrs. Thompson as well. Healing unspooled like delicate threads, weaving them together into something that seemed no longer so fragile. The day echoed with laughter and joy, an anthem of freedom that filled their hearts. There on the swings, under the sun's warm embrace, Maria could see it, a future filled with potential, life brimming at the edges. This was the transformation they sought, a journey of connections, trust, and friendship that could overcome the barriers they faced. Maria knew this was just the start. Hope blossomed in their hearts, championing the idea that they could craft new beginnings from shared joy. Just as the sun dipped low, embracing the horizon, Maria felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. They had fought through uncertainty and emerged victorious, a symphony of laughter playing as she recognized not just Emily's newfound freedom, but her own growth as well. It was a day of triumph, and it was only the beginning, but the journey promised much more to come. Now's the time. If you felt this transformation, don't wait, subscribe immediately to the channel so you won't miss the next exclusive stories. Hit that like button now to feed the algorithm. We need to hear your thoughts. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this ending. And you have to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't hold back, this is the moment to show your support.